Hey everybody, I'm Adam.
I'm Stephanie.
And we're here from theeclecticgamer.com to review Dominion. Yay!
Yay!
We don't have the box because we actually cannibalized it to put it in card boxes, which we're now regretting. But
Whoops.
We'll have a picture of it here somewhere. You can see. But we're going to talk about Dominion, and like usual, we'll go over first kind of the basics of the rules so we can get in a little more about why you may or may not like it later. So Dominion is completely a card game. It is the father of all deck building games. So if you've just gotten into board games, or you've been plugging your ears and saying la 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 every time someone says deck building game for the past 10 years, then I guess we're honored that you decided our video was the one to learn about deck building games. But this is kind of where it all started. Back sort of before these came about, part of the fun of games like Magic the Gathering was to build your deck ahead of time. And so the idea behind these games, Dominion being one of the first, is that you, during the game, you start with a small deck of cards. So in this case, it's just estates and coppers, which are money that you can buy stuff with, and victory points for the end that are essentially useless in the beginning. And then throughout the game, as part of the actions that you can take, you buy more things to put into your deck, and your deck constantly gets reshuffled every time it's empty. And then with those new cards, they allow you to buy more and more useful cards, and eventually buy victory points to end the game. The rules are really simple. Every turn you play an action if you have one, which you won't at the beginning. You can buy any cards with the money you have, like that copper I showed you, or the more expensive gold or silver cards that you can buy throughout the game. And then you clean up your cards. You put everything from your turn in your discard pile and draw 5 new cards. And that's it. And then it goes around in a circle and everyone does that. The game starts out with 10 copies of 10 unique cards that you're going to have in the game that you can purchase that have various costs. So we have some Swindlers and Shantytowns that cost 3 or 4 or 2 or 6 and so on. And then as you go, you use those coins to buy either more coins, so you can buy more expensive things later, or buy some of these cards that'll give you extra actions, or you can allow you to buy twice, or allow you to draw more cards so you might have more money, or any kind of crazy combination of things. Some will attack your opponents, some defend you against opponents' attacks. And the idea is you want to build your deck so that when you draw your cards, it'll eventually allow you to buy victory points, like the big 6 victory point provinces. One of the interesting things is victory points are not useful in your deck for the most part. They're just dead cards. Actually, drawing it is bad because it's one less useful card you could have. So there's an interesting game within the game of, okay, now I want to start buying the victory points and trying to end the game. But if you do it too early, then your deck gets full of useless cards. Did I miss anything? Anything important?
I don't think so. Although you call it the game within the game, but I think that is the game.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. But yeah, there's a lot of strategies you can take. One thing I always kind of have fun doing is you can buy cards that draw you more cards and give you extra actions to play. So I play this card, it gives me 2 actions. And then I play the other card that draws me 3 cards. And I play another card that gives me 2 more actions, and you keep going. You might do something where you just have big money cards where you have a lot of gold, and you use other cards to trash out the lower value cards, so you can just buy big things every turn. And based on what 10 cards you pick, I believe the base set comes with 20 or so different cards. It gives you tons and tons of permutations, and maybe having this one card in the deck that you didn't have before totally changes what strategy you can do. And then the game ends when all the high victory point provinces run out, or at least 3 of the decks completely run out of cards. So you can actually kind of end the game before it gets going if everyone's just buying up a couple of cards really quickly, and then it ends. But that's the game. And so now we're going to talk a little bit about some reasons you might or might not like the game. So our website, you can go to tegratings.com, TEG ratings.com. And what you can do at the site is you can fill out this survey that says, I like card games, I love quick games, I hate random games, and so on and so forth. And based on those attributes, we spit out a bunch of scores on a 1 to 10 scale for you of games that we've created game profiles for. And what we're going to do here in this review is we're going to explain the game profiles we wrote for Dominion, and the different attributes it has, and then you can use that to try to figure out whether you may or may not like it. And you can go to the site and put in your attributes and see how it lines up. Anything I missed about the site?
I don't think so.
All right, get us started, Steph.
All right, so first we have Dominion is a game that has a lot of variety, and it is customizable because there are a million expansions that you can customize it with.
Even within one set, you can choose which ones you want to do.
Right. So I think you said it came with about 20, I don't remember off the top of my head, different decks to pull from for the action cards, and I think of those you put out 10 for a game. So you can customize which of those 20 you want to put out, and like I said, there's a million expansions, so you can constantly be buying more different variety of things that you can put out, and that's what you get to the decks that you put out are what you get to choose to purchase to then as actions to complete your constructed deck, basically.
And if you played all the different permutations, like I'll play these 10, and then I'm going to take this one out and put this other one in, and then keep doing that with every possible combination, there would be tens, if not hundreds of thousands of different combinations.
Yeah.
It wouldn't all be super different, but...
Yeah, a lot of them would play similarly, but
But sometimes
some
just
of
the
them
act
are
of
very...
adding one card
can change everything, and there's definitely a wide variety of things, especially when you start looking at the expansions. A wide variety of mechanics.
One of the reasons that we might not have all the exact numbers down is we bought this, closer to when it first came out, and we played this into the ground. We played hundreds of games. This is also a game you can play with two players relatively easily. We just played a million games of it. So that kind of is a testament too to how much variety it is. So you have the variety from game to game, and you get to customize and choose what you have. So some games have variety without being customizable. It's just like, oh, there's so many cards, who knows what will come up. But this one, you get to kind of control it.
Yeah.
And then one thing we had for this is construction games. And I think this is the reason I like this game so much. And we define construction games as where part of the mechanic is you want to build something. And sometimes that's you're building a spaceship, and sometimes it's you're building a town, sometimes you're building a farm. And this is a little more abstract in that, and it's you're building your deck. But it turns into this little Rube Goldberg machine, essentially, where you're like, I got this card that allowed me to draw 2 more cards, and I got this card that discards my crappy cards, and so every turn I'm getting rid of all the coppers, and I'm only keeping my gold, and then all of a sudden, after 3 or 4 turns, every turn I draw 3 gold, and I can just buy stuff every time, and it can't be stopped. And that's the idea. You want to think, what cards can I get, and then how can I manipulate my deck so that I get those cards specifically? Maybe I do it through drawing extra cards. Maybe I do it through discarding cards I don't want. But your deck becomes a little machine, and you're trying to build your machine to work properly. And so part of the fun is, and that's why I don't even care about winning in this game sometimes. It's just, I'm going to try this crazy strategy with these 3 cards. I'm just going to see how that machine runs. And so it's like, I'm a computer programmer. So to me, it's like, I'm just going to make this computer simulation and just see what happens.
To me, it's not interesting enough to just try to play it without trying to win. But to each their own.
No. All right, what else we got, Steph?
So this is a game where it is both consistent and randomness plays a significant factor.
Let's explain consistent, that's something we made up.
Which is, again, a strange combination. If you've listened to some of our other videos that have similar reviews of games that have these similar duo attributes. So consistent means that for us, the way that we've defined it is that you can learn from having played a game and use what you've learned in the next game to improve. So people who have played Dominion a lot are going to school the people who have never played Dominion. So in that sense, it is consistent. You'll learn strategies. You'll get a good idea that it's things like you want to trash your copper early on and even trash your estates, even though they're victory points, because you are constantly wanting to get better cards that you'd be drawing. That's an example. Or knowing which combinations of cards work together well.
Or not buying copper for 0.
Yes, don't buy copper. Yeah, those sorts of things we think makes the game consistent. So, like I said, if somebody's played Dominion a lot, they're going to have a significant advantage over somebody who's never played it.
And some games that have a lot of randomness, you'll play through and you'll be like, well, I can't even control what's happening.
Yeah, so the randomness here comes mostly from what cards you're drawing.
Yeah, you shuffle your
deck a lot, and then you draw, I think it was 5 cards.
Yeah.
And then sometimes that hand of 5 cards will be great, and sometimes it'll just be terrible.
You're like,
and sometimes
I have 7 gold, and I can't get the 8 cost province.
Yeah, or you'll have exactly 5 victory point cards in your deck, and you will draw all 5 of them, and then not be able to do anything.
Yeah, and so like there's some times when the random is like, oh, that person got really lucky, that person didn't get really lucky, but it keeps it interesting because you can't choose exactly what your deck happens. That's the plus side of random. Is the downside is you don't feel as in control.
Yeah. So I know some people hate random games.
Yeah.
If you do, this is probably not a great game for you.
But randomness and consistency are kind of weird one because like so the reason you might like consistent games is you go like I want to be able to improve. I want to be able to play 5 games and see I'm getting better. And some people don't like consistency. And I think the main reason that is it's hard to get new players into the game because if you go, hey, we're gonna play Dominion.
Yeah.
Oh, look how bad you got crushed. Want to play again? No.
Yeah, or if you just want to play variety games, I mean, you don't want to become an expert in one single game.
Yeah, and you want to be able to do that. So those are all these attributes. They have pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm. Most of them do.
Yeah, and so that's is that about all?
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's an interesting combination. So next we have simple rules. The rules for Dominion are very simple. On your turn, you play an action card, do what it says. You can buy a card based on the amount of gold you played, and then you clean up your hand and draw 5 new cards. Those are very simple, and all the complexity.
It's like a 4-page rule book as opposed to 30. But that said, I think that it's not because it's not simple to play game because your cards are constantly changing what you can do on a turn. So I've seen some people who sit there and have to think for 5 minutes about what they're going to do on their turn. So and that's the reason I don't think of it as being simple rules. Now, I guess you could still say the rules are still simple, but just some people just can't grok them. So.
Yeah. I think sometimes we don't always have the same. That's why we have multiple editors on our site that each have their own game profiles, and it averages them. But the way I think of it is like simple to learn. Like teaching someone the rules is very easy, but like difficult to master and try to like figure out how everything interacts. So that's why I think it like that. But.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it says to do this in the rule book, but one thing that helps new people learn is to give everybody a copy of the action card, of each action card that they can purchase, so that they can, so that they can read them on other people's turns. Anyway, so moving on.
Yeah.
So strategy games. This Dominion is a strategy game.
Yeah, there's
a lot of strategy. So if you don't like strategy games, this isn't a great game. If you do like strategy, not only is Dominion a good game, but the expansions add so many new twists, nuances, different mechanics to it that once you think you've mastered one strategy, I think you can add another expansion and then have to learn something new all over again. So.
And a lot of the strategy comes from seeing how different cards interact, and you can kind of picture it in your mind and see how they would work, and then adapting on the fly. Maybe everyone's strategy involves this one card, but there's only 10 of them, so you want to make sure you might want to think, oh, I definitely want to do that, but if the 3 of them are all going to buy them, then I won't have enough of them to make my deck work. So you have to adapt on the fly, and there's a lot you can do. And sometimes you're like, oh man, I have this 4 gold. Should I buy this one and trade my strategy now, or should I not buy anything and change it? So there's a bunch of different things you can do, and I think it's strategy on a couple different levels.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go through a rapid-fire list of additional attributes. We won't go into as much depth of them. It has both direct player interaction and indirect player interaction. So we find direct player interaction where it's like, I do something to you. I make you discard a card. I attack you or whatever. There are a set of cards that will make you discard cards. There are a set of cards that will...
they make you. They call them curse. They're like negative victory points. So you'll be forced to take them. Yeah,
and then there's some that make you discard, some that make you. There's all a bunch, and then there's cards you get to defend that. But a lot of the interaction in the game is indirect, where you say, I'm gonna try to buy these cards out from under you, so you can't buy those. And people kind of like playing chicken on who's going to stop buying them first, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's a quick game, takes about half an hour generally. Some of the new players will take a little longer, but we define quick games as games under an hour, and it's definitely that. It is competitive. You're competing against the other players to have the most victory points. So some people like that. Some people prefer competitive or cooperative ability. But I still think there's a lot you can get out of it without competing. So it is a card game. The entire thing is cards. Some of the expansions add a little extra bits. But some people are put off by just having cards. It's a little boring for them. They want something that looks a little nicer on the table. Some people like the simplicity of that. It's up to you. I called it anticlimactic, which basically means it the end kind of just winds down and then you just see what happens. Sometimes there are some moments, I think you said, where
and the game ends. One of the end conditions is when all the provinces are bought.
That or the 3 piles run out.
Right, that's right. For us, it's almost always provinces, and there's definitely some element, I think, of moments where you're sitting there going, okay, I think I can get that last province. If only I can get to my turn before the next person goes, and or the next person wants it, but the only way they can get it is by playing cards that draw more cards, and they don't know what they're going to get. So, and to me, I wouldn't say it's a climactic game, but I also wouldn't say that it's anticlimactic, where the game just ends. So, I don't know.
Because to me, a lot of times you kind of know who's been getting the most cards, and so you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll get that one, but Danny has 5 of the provinces, so we know he won. So it's like, and it was fun to play, fun to try it, but you kind of have an idea before it happens. So, again, another difference between the two of us. I said it was also games without flashy components. This is beyond it being a card game, but I also think the artwork is kind of boring, and I don't love it.
It's a little cheesy.
It's a little cheesy, a little kind of cartoony, like
and it sketchy. Also doesn't match. Some of them.
Yeah, it's all different artists.
It's all different artists, and it doesn't mesh very well.
Yeah, and you might be used to that if you play things like Magic, where they have different artists from all different places. But some people might be put off by the style of the cards. I said it was a game without much theme. There's a theme on it that you're like building a medieval.
Yeah, it's a medieval
province,
town, sort of.
It's a town, province.
But it really doesn't matter. You could put any theme on this. And
it could be space credits, and you're putting parts on your space station. It could be anything. So like,
as long as it has an economy, then.
And we
put any theme on it.
This is a couple different things. It's really like how engaged are you in the theme? How engrossed are you in that theme? And you just don't really get engrossed in it. Some people that doesn't matter. Some people they like that, so they can just concentrate on the mechanics. We're themey people, so this is definitely a detractor for us. It could have been cooler.
Yeah.
And finally, you said resource management. I don't even talk about that.
Well, I mean, you're trying to figure out what cards to play when. So we don't have a separate category for card management. So I consider hand management. So I consider that to fall under resource management.
I've thought about it. The only reason I didn't is because you are making choices on what to do with your resources, but generally the resources. Like, it's basically just what do I buy. It's not like you have multiple resources and they have they have different things you can do with different.
Well, I'm always finding myself with like 7 gold, so I'd sit there and go and multiple buys. So I'm like, do I buy?
What's the best scenario?
Do I buy gold with that? Do I get to give 2 different actions? Do I only buy a duchy? Yeah, I was always finding myself in that position.
That's it. And that's our list, and that's Dominion. So finally, we'll talk about the site a little bit more. Again, it is tegratings.com, TEG ratings.com. Make it appear up here somewhere above Stephanie. And basically the idea is you go there, you don't have to sign up or anything, you just click on the Get Started, and it'll pick out 10 of the most common attributes, and you fill out and you say, I like that, I dislike that, I hate that, I love that, I'm indifferent about that. And then using that information, it'll spit out customized ratings for your preferences based on the 40 or 50 game profiles we've done. And then if you like it, you can fill out more attributes to get more accurate ratings until you've done all of them. And then if you really like the site, we could actually use some help, because Stephanie and I play a subset of games. There's only so much time, and we generally like thematic games and cooperative games more than competitive games. And so there's a bunch of games that are very popular that we don't have ratings for, because we don't have enough experience with those games to play them.
Or to rate them.
To rate them, yeah. Again, you don't have to sign up to use the site, but if you want to sign up, then you can create your own game profiles. And there's a second column there next to editor ratings. It's community ratings, and that takes into account every rating that you guys create for any games. And there's a whole list of games that we don't have ratings for. So you could go in there and put Agricola and Caverna in there and help people, find the games that are your favorites. But always remember, there are pluses and minuses to every game, even if it's your favorite. There are going to be reasons someone else doesn't like it, and the goal of this is to try to take that and say, like, for you to be recommending games for people like you would your best friend, saying, oh, I don't think you'd like that because of X, Y, and Z, but people might like it because of A, B, and C.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's about it. Did we miss anything, Steph?
I don't think so.
Well, that's Dominion. I'm Adam.
I'm Stephanie.
And we're here from theeclecticgamer.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.